Hello traders, and welcome to this market overview video from FoxEx for the week ahead commencing on Monday the 21st of May. As you are probably aware, the US dollar continued to dominate last week and has once again proven itself to be the undisputed champion here in the month of May. As usual, our price action entries have provided some wonderful opportunities in recent days, as you can see here when we turn them on and go down through the various time frames. Here we are looking at the 4-hour, and here we are looking at the 1-hour charts. This is the Euro USD, but it's a very similar picture on all the major pairs during the recent large moves in favor of the US dollar. The odd one out of the majors is the Canadian dollar, which, as you can see, has been moving sideways for the last week or two. However, you can see that there's still some room to the upside according to the wave of the wealth crossover indicator, so do look out for opportunities to go long on the loonie here in the upcoming days. Euro is at the end of the wave, but price action is still very bearish on this pair, so a good idea to wait for a clear turn to the upside before getting involved. Of course, you may find some good opportunities to scalp a few pips down on the lower time frames the next day or two, but here on the daily it is definitely advisable to hold fire until we see a healthy green candle or two. Here on cable, the market has started to move sideways, but the sellers are still slightly stronger, so again we'll see what unfolds in the early part of this upcoming week before taking any long positions here on this pair. We still may potentially get a final push to the downside, as we are only just entering the third week of May and still haven't reached the end of the wave. The Aussie chart isn't very clean at all in the last week, but it does look as though the wealth crossover lines are potentially about to cross, which would suggest a push to the upside is perhaps on the cards. This is not the cleanest example, so perhaps a good idea to hold fire on the Aussie for now. The Kiwi is an interesting chart and definitely one to keep an eye on for sure. It looks as if some buyers have arrived in this market in the last few days, and we are in the vicinity of the end of the wave. But again, wait for a clear price action signal before trading the reversal here on the Kiwi, as we still could potentially get another little push to the downside. Here on the Japanese yen, the buyers are still dominating, even though we've reached the end of the wealth crossover wave. Interestingly, June is by far the strongest month of the year for the Japanese yen, so please do keep an eye out for some big red candles as we approach the end of May on this particular pair. This is definitely one pair to place on the short watch list in the next week or so. June is also typically a very strong month for the Swissy, and we have recently had some sellers pushing this market down in the last few days, so also this is one to keep an eye on. As for the minor pairs, we are still bearish on the Euro GBP. As you can see here, price reached the end of the wave here a couple of weeks ago and put in a new low last Thursday. So do keep an eye out for more potential short opportunities down on the 4-hour charts or on the lower time frames if that is your thing. The Euro Yen here is a very nice and clean example of the wealth crossover indicator in action. We already reached the vicinity of the end of the wave last week, and the market made a very nice push upwards, as you can see here. I do believe quite a few members of the FoxEx online trading community have made some money on this move, so if this is the case, well done to all of you. There's still plenty of room to the upside on the Euro Yen, so please do keep an eye on this pair. Incidentally, looking at the Euro Yen here, you will notice that price didn't reach the end of the wave before turning to the upside, and this is often the case. Of course, it is perfectly possible for price to come down for another push to the downside, but the key to successfully leveraging the wealth crossover indicator is your ability to read price action once it is within the vicinity of the end of the wave. This is not an exact science, of course, but more often than not, once price really turns, as it clearly did here, it will continue to push until it reaches the vicinity of the other end of the new wave. And on the way, of course, it will produce a string of opportunities, including our price action entries on all the various timeframes. Very similar picture here on the GBP, JPY, and again, a lot of the FoxEx trading community, myself included, have traded this pair in recent days. As you can see, the buyers have been dominating this market for the last couple of weeks, and we can expect more buying power until we reach the end of the new wave. Pound Oz is another very interesting pair. We are now right at the end of the wave, and also notice that this is a 3-line crossover on this pair, which typically produces a wave, which is a very accurate estimate of the turning point in the market. Again, we'll be stalking this market and waiting for some nice healthy looking green candles before we ride the wave back up to the upside. And finally, the gold chart also looking very interesting. Again, we are right at the end of the wave, and the buyers have started to appear towards the end of last week. So look for potential long entries in the week ahead. Of course, some of you may not yet be fully fluent with the wealth crossover indicator or the other FoxEx trading tools. And if that is the case, then please check out our YouTube channel, where you can find a growing library of educational videos which explain everything you need to know regarding all things FoxEx. You can also join us via our online trading floor, which can be accessed here via our trading platform. And the growing FoxEx community are posting very high quality content on the trading floor on a daily basis. And you will no doubt find some very informative discussions going on there. Last but not least, if we just take a casual look at these markets, there is something which stands out with regards to the wealth crossover indicator. If you really want a shortcut method to using this indicator to interpret the markets here on the daily time frame, then perhaps this information may be of benefit to you. Now, price almost always turns when it reaches the vicinity of the end of the wave here on the daily charts. And this alone, traders, is a major advantage that you have as a trader. Now, ideally, when price turns, we would like to have the possibility of a large reversal move so that there is plenty of room for us to make some pips and therefore make some money. Now, fortunately, the wealth crossover indicator often gives us a clear heads up on which markets are most likely to be on the verge of a large turn. How does this work? Very simply, when price reaches the vicinity of the end of the wave, it is a useful idea to look for a large gap between the blue and the purple lines. The larger the gap, the more room that we will have for a large move in the opposite direction. It is as simple as that. Okay, traders, we hope you enjoyed this video, and we look forward to chatting with you via our online trading floor, which you can find at the following address. This has been a market overview from FoxEx.